Philippians chapter 3 and Proverbs chapter 8. In Philippians chapter 3, I want to zero in on verses 12 through 14 for two reasons. One is, in the 1800s, not so much today, there was this false doctrine that would come out that Christians could achieve a state of sinless perfection, that they would get to such a place of depth, of holiness and purity, that they would no longer sin. And the sad part is, that's just crazy. We're never going to get to the place where we never sin, because the Bible calls sin the motives of our heart, for one thing. But right here in the Bible, Paul, the greatest of all the apostles probably, says, look, I'm nowhere near close to perfection. I'm going to keep straining. But the second thing I want to notice is the intensity and the hunger to be near the Lord, to obey the Lord, to complete his mission. Look at the adjectives in verses 12 through 14. Not that I've already obtained all this or have already made perfect, but I press on, look at press on, to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of me. He's like, I'm so grabbed in my heart with Jesus. Brothers, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind, which is a great verse, by the way, for people in inner healing, and straining towards what is ahead. Oh, yes, forget what is behind. And how do we forget? Because we're so focused on what is ahead. And then look at the next verb. I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me. I hear God calling me. It's such an emotive. Paul does not use bland verbs. Let's just be honest with you. And they come out of a cry of his heart that Jesus is just thumping in him, and he can't wait for the day when he sees the Lord. So great verses, stirring verses, and to this day, they stir every one of us who love the Lord. Now let's go over to Proverbs chapter 8. And speaking of stirring, wow, Proverbs chapter 8, verse 31. Proverbs chapter 8, a lot of this is how wisdom was at the right hand of the Lord when he created all things. And then it's talking about when he created the water and the sea. And then it talks about mankind. And it says in verse 31, rejoicing in his whole world and delighting in mankind. And it's really showing us, people don't always grasp how deeply the Father loves his children. In fact, the word delighting there, one commentator explained to me, they broke it down, and I'm not a Hebrew expert, how the word in the Hebrew there, numerous ways, the way it was written, the way a couple of letters were repeated in it, that it was a very unique way that it was written in the Hebrew, that the word delighted means exceeding great delight and pleasure. That's how the Father feels about you today. He has exceeding great delight and pleasure in you. Let that lift you up today, and let your heart be wide open to the God who loves you so much. Have an awesome day today.